we're bankrupt.
Well, we're not bankrupt.
We are.
Maybe against China.
65% of construction in London belongs to China.
Wait for the ball. The world doesn't flock to a bankrupt state, does it? Look around you. We are not bankrupt. Don't be ridiculous. How can anyone take you seriously when you come out with such nonsense?
What's happening for the past 10 years?
This man's next.
We are not. We are
Cuts.
We are not.
Oh, please don't tell me.
you're right.
Don't waffle, man. Tell the reality.
I'm obsessed with Russia at the moment. I want to go back to that. Russia is one of the most educated, skilled, knowledgeable populations that you can imagine. And they're being held down by their corrupt mafia leadership. Don't. They are a corrupt mafia state where Western business can't do business in Russia without stuffing brown envelopes and passing on. It's corrupt to the core, which is why Putin needs to go, because Russia needs to reset itself, and we should be Russia's best friend. We go back so much in history. We have so much interlinks between Russia and Britain. We should be working together because they are a great, fantastic people. And Putin is preventing that from being reset, because one of Putin's sole methodologies is to sow hate against the West. Hence why he pumps millions and millions and millions of rubles into RT as his main mouthpiece of propaganda around the world, which is why you see at every minuscule little demonstration in London, the one media crew that will be there is RT, unless there's anything remotely anti-Russian, and of course they won't be there, because they want to sow this continual message that the West are fighting each other and we're in disarray. Nonsense. It's all part of Putin's RT propaganda mouthpiece.
My point, what you said about I had the ball first, and I have balls.
He has the ball.
So, no, I have a ball.
I have balls too, man.
Okay, my point is when Steve speaks about Putin, I do not.
Point of
I'd like to make a point of order. I'm allowed a point of order.
Yeah, point of order.
I love you, Mo, but enough. Let him
No,
speak.
when the ball is there.
I agree.
Can I make a point? When somebody puts the ball here and they don't want to pick up and I pick up, what's the matter?
It's not like nobody wanted it. It's
Let me
just that
finish.
you rushed to the
Okay,
ball
just
so
one
much
point.
that nobody picked it up.
As
make the
Mr.
point,
Steve
Mo.
talks about Putin. See, my point is, I'm not saying Putin is the greatest man on earth and this. No, my point is hypocrisy and his ignorance that we are the West and we are the best. Look at our politicians.
Correct.
Wait.
We are the best.
Look at our
Why
politicians.
you're here and why I'm still here, because we're the best.
Okay, no,
Why
I'll
I'm
let you
here.
speak first, and I'll
Why
speak
do you have to
afterwards.
point that I'm here?
You
Because
speak
it's
out
the
when
West.
Talking with the ball.
So you're not letting me finish.
Make the
See,
point.
when it comes to reality, you can't take it. I know
You
that.
speaker. Yeah.
Look at our parliament.
Oh, yeah, guys.
Embarrassment of the world. Look at our nation state. We are divided. We hate each other because of Brexit, and we go talk about Putin.
Ooh, evil
Look at
Brexit.
Theresa May. Because she wants the
is
power,
nothing
she's
compared with
clinging to the last breath of her clinging to the power.
Bro, you
Bro.
don't know Putin. You don't know what he does.
It's called democracy.
You
That's
don't
why
know.
we're arguing.
See, my point
I can tell
is as much as you point.
Democracy, that's why we're
Can I
arguing.
finish?
Yeah, let him finish. Quick.
Okay, finish.
You're going to
My
finish. You're
point-
actually going to finish this.
Wait, yeah,
Steve,
just
it
quickly
wasn't funny.
finish. Yeah.
My point is, as much as you point at others, 3 fingers are pointing at you. Change within yourself. When you stand in the morning in the mirror and you don't call yourself a hypocrite, then talk.
We do call ourselves
Then-
hypocrites.
None of us.
finish.
My point is, don't be so ignorant and so because I'm this Westerner, I know everything and I deserve everything.
Okay,
Everything.
Okay, thank you. No,
Human nature for you.
Next speaker, breakfast will be available shortly, everybody.
Next speaker.
This is
every day. He's talking about
The gentleman will be heard.
New speaker. New speaker.
Order. The gentleman will be heard.
after you give it.
in Iraq, 3.5 million people died.
Excuse me,
They said
gallery.
it's a
Oh, if
mistake.
you want to speak to them, speak to them.
Yes, take a seat up.
Everyone cheer that, everyone cheer that.
In Iraq, they said it's a mistake.
You want to take a seat, mate?
3.5 million people died.
Fair to the gentleman.
How do you
Can I
justify
just speak to
3.5
Yes,
So
please
why
go
did
ahead
you
and I
mention
start.
Hitler?
I think you haven't been
forgot
fair
your
to that
history,
gentleman
sir.
because he's
Yes,
by
sir.
himself.
Yes,
No
sir.
number two. There you go.
They
There you
get
go.
the British
Can I
killed
just
William
talk,
Wallace
please?
because
I've
of
been listening to
freedom.
you. So you have to listen to me. So
Are
you
you
got
Scottish?
about 6 people against him, and anytime you want to back up things, you want to make it common because everybody make it common against him. My point, when I sit down here, I thought you've been talking about business,
I live in
about
Afghanistan.
trading
I'm
things,
born in a war.
and I think it's linked to
When a rocket
politics.
hits, your limbs fly, my man.
Link
I've
it to
seen
politics, and then we go to Russia and Putin.
When a bomb blast happens, I know how it feels.
I'm a first time speaking,
You've
so
never been
let
there.
me allow to finish my point.
He's the one who's give him a chance. Give him a chance.
No, I'm with him. Everything he said, you hypocrite people, I'm sorry, not all.
The government.
There you go. Okay, because the subject linked to politics, let me talk a little bit. Shut up. Shut up.
No.
Yes. This is his morality.
Let him be heard.
This is why they don't want to hear what I'm going to say.
Of course they won't.
Right. Let's talk about Russia. The American in the West against Russia, these people against Russia. Do you know why? Do you know why?
No, make your
Obama
point.
said reason.
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
Make your point.
Because they've been talking about business earlier and they link it to the politics and start attacking Russia and Putin because Russia backed up right now Iran and Syria and Let me finish my point. I've been listening to you.
We are so angels.
You spoke. You look like very innocent.
We have done nothing.
Very innocent. You don't know what you're talking about. So the main reason of the war in Syria. Do you know what is it?
Don't ask questions. Make your point.
Okay.
Just tell us.
Okay.
Tell us, you know, obviously.
It's linked to business. The next resource of the world is called the gas.
Yeah.
The gas.
Gas.
The gas is in area of Iran and Qatar and Kazakhstan and Russia.
Caspian Bay.
Not in Europe.
Baku.
Can I just please talk?
Of course you can.
Two people talking at the same time is not really good.
When I give to the honourable gentleman,
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Not all. He wants to talk. You guys are.
Let me finish it.
Yes, because the truth hurts. You
They
don't
are
want to hear it.
professional hacklers, so they anytime the buddies want to make a point, they stop it. Okay.
Make your point. Nice and
your
crisp.
point.
The main reason of the war in Syria, because America they want to bring the gas to Europe.
Yes.
The gas, the biggest area of the gas, the biggest field of the gas in the whole world between Qatar and Iran. Maybe people don't know that.
Okay.
So Qatar is belong to America, and Syria belong to Iran, and Syria belong to Russia. So there's still the war between Russia and America. America they want to bring the gas of Qatar to Europe, and Syria said no because they have gone through Syria.
The canal. What's the name?
No, this oceans.
No, the route of the
So they claimed the war in Syria, in Syria, name of democracy. My brother here mentions people dying in Russia, but he didn't say how many people die in America by gunshot every single year.
Incomparable.
No.
What?
Massive
Make your point.
Statistically, if people die in America by shooting, the huge number than people die in Russia and everywhere in the world. And America is what do you call it? The country of the first democratic country in the world.
make them
Look at the
numbers.
mortality.
Of course,
right.
when I say bigger population.
It's correct.
But the point is people
So
die.
Syria says no because of the gas come to Europe. Russia will collapse. Russia was the biggest supply of the gas to Europe. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, and your point is.
Yes. Huh?
And your point
Thank you, Mr.
is.
My
Speaker. What is
point
the
is that meeting about business or politics?
Are you asking a question or making a comment?
I'm asking a question to everybody.
No.
So,
Both
Just make
connected.
your
don't have
point.
a
Don't ask questions. Make your point.
well, this I'm talking.
Can I say the subject was radical wealth redistribution? That's how we started.
Okay.
All right. So Putin, when you're attacking Putin,
Last
you're
chance.
talking politics.
Make your point.
Thank you very
Right.
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we have so many topics on the table: politics, we have education, we have business, everything. It's all intermingled somehow.
It
but
is.
But the basic question is, what do we get? Is it better to have a king, to have a ruler? We had Hitler, whatever, who guides us, or is it free enterprise that every person can do the best on her own? And I personally think that it's better that I can choose for myself without some big government, without some big whatever, telling me how to do.
But your choice can harm me.
Yes, this is very important. There's the golden rule. I want to treat you as I expect that you treat me. This is the single rule. I don't need any more complicated, difficult rules. It's very
So when
simple.
America goes to Iraq and they blow themselves, they should say, yeah, because they are defending themselves.
Well,
Why
look,
aren't you saying anything?
Make your point, and your point is.
and my point is, I want a society where everybody is as free as possible without somebody telling me how to redistribute.
Very nice. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But in that society, the rapist wants to rape. Should we let him do it?
I'll let him give.
Wait.
Let him give the statistics.
Give way. You give way.
The average life expectancy for a man in Russia is 66.
Bye guys. Bye bye. Have a nice
66,
Sunday.
and that's a lot higher than it was.
Thank you very much.
In, hang on, I just lost it. In America, it's significantly higher. I've just lost it. It's 78 in America.
Can I just make a point
78
about that?
versus 66. Yet this
Fine.
man was just saying, oh, but people are dying in
Let's just make a
America.
point
He
about
talks
what I'm
about
saying.
people dying in Russia.
Please.
The facts don't support what you're saying. People die very young in Russia because of the evil state that doesn't give a damn about their quality of life or about
Just
the
one-
level of pollution.
just a-
Alcohol is part to play.
Just a-
Why do you think they have a high level of alcoholism?
Just to remind you,
It's all connected.
2 million people died during the war of Britain and America.
We're
and
talking
Iraq.
about now.
To remind you, just
You were comparing
2 million
America.
people died because of the gun.
This is a very good point. But I think in Moscow, the figures are low because Moscow, wait for it, has a population of nearly 16 million. And it consumes 8 million bottles of vodka per day. Giving that a certain amount will be teetotalers, that means there's a hell of a lot of vodka going down throats. Now this is a nation with, I think it's 73% of the world's scientists, as you said, highly intelligent, and the rest maybe a bunch of peasants or tradesmen or brain surgeons or cab drivers or whatever. But this is a country that is not to be discounted. And Putin, obviously, it felt a bit miffed because he wants to put Russia back on the map. Quite understandably, because it was
How dare he?
a stinking collectivist, cruel, people-destroying system called communism, where most people had a very short life and a slow, cold serfdom and an alcoholic death. That's a change. Changed a bit because they can
Sir,
travel now.
we are patriotic. They kill their terrorists.
Where's the Shia guy
And
to
your point
make you stop
is-
interrupting?
My point
Come on,
is,
that's a
yeah.
silly
I
point to
am
make.
corroborating what this gentleman said. Thank you for listening to me. And goodbye.
Thank you very much. That's a good point. Very nice.
No, we don't do that.
Okay then. I'm not an anarchist. I'm telling you the reality, sir. When we go to live in others' country, we call ourselves
Speaker!
expats. When people come to England, we call them immigrants.
Strikes over there.
That's my point, sir.
It's not you haven't got the ball.
You're the one who needs to buy a mirror, bro, so you see how you're right.
No, tell them the truth, the reality of life.
Let me tell you.
Decide what's the truth.
Now let me tell you something. I've been noticing a lot of people, especially in England, that hate America and hate the West, and thus they say Russia is the good guy because Russia opposes America and the West. Just because
people died in Iraq by American
you're not even sitting, you're not even sitting. You're not,
No, you should
don't
say
have a wall, you're
Iraqi
not
person
sitting.
to say
Nothing happened.
if 2 million
You
people
see, you've been
killed.
civilized. Interruptions.
Now you're interrupted.
Okay, anyway. Anyway, most people who speak about Russia and who speak about America here, and you say Russia's good, America's bad, don't know anything about Russia. I myself am a Ukrainian. Everybody knows me this year, except this gentleman. He called me Polish like 10 times. And that's why I was laughing on him saying politics, because he was calling me Polish all the time. Now, let's speak about
Why we hate,
real
you hate
things.
Russia.
Well, you see, he thinks I hate Russia. Russia is very
No, make your point.
I'm trying.
Yeah, don't
Okay,
ignore
wait,
him.
listen,
Make your point.
you're the person who needs to put some order here. Why are you letting him interrupt? Don't let him interrupt, I'll make my point. My point, you see.
Ignore him.
My point is, Ukraine and Russia are very similar peoples. To a certain extent, they're brothers in terms of race, in terms of sub-race, in terms of, those things. But the thing that I notice in history is that brothers fight each other much more than people who are very different from each other. It's very contradictory, but it happens. Because brothers are the ones who live in reasonably the same space. They are the ones who struggle for power the most.
Russians are not that different to Ukrainians. Have no reason to hate Russians. I hate the way Russia has been ruled since Ivan the Terrible, which is a regime that, and you know, you might say it has nothing to do, but it does have a lot to do with the regime now. It's the Iron Fist rule. It's the ruthlessness and cunning of the Mongolian Khan. And that's what the Russians have learned how to rule their people as, since the times of Ivan the Terrible. And people don't understand this here.
Always blame the others.
You see,
blame the others.
And your point
my
is...
point is, you talk shit about America, and indeed America does do many bad things, because America has learned from Rome to divide the countries around them, to make their empire keep existing for longer.
So it's okay.
Now Russia has learned with a much worse empire, the Mongolian Empire.
Okay.
Wherever somebody doesn't agree with them, they will destroy them. Easy as that.
Okay.
The West is not nearly as ruthless. And you
Seriously?
defending Russia and attacking the West is the peak of folly. And your laughter shows that. You don't know what Russia is about. You don't know how people die of accidents in Russia when they disagree with Putin, when they talk shit about
They
Putin.
annexed
You don't know about that.
Sevastopol, or they annexed
Okay.
They
Crimea.
annexed Crimea. Nobody speaks about
They
that.
annexed Crimea.
Thank
See
you.
the
Next speaker.
ignorance.
I went to Sevastopol.
You see,
People
you call
get
it
picked up in
Speaker.
Iraq by MI5, by CIA. He doesn't talk about that. Always is the Russia the bad
Wait
guy.
for the ball. Wait
the
for
West never
wait
did anything.
for the ball. Wait for the ball.
Okay, I'll take the ball.
Yeah, right. Good.
I perfectly agree what Pavlov said about Russia's ruthlessness being informed by past conquests of Mongolia. I also think another thing is because in order for Russia to control such a huge amount of territory, you know, it seems like Southampton, you know, especially that all of the main finance and governing is in one far corner of it, of the entire continent, and you know, Siberia and all these other flung off areas. You know, the amount of times I think it will be easier to rebel against Russia if Russia didn't have a strong hand. Would be, you know, Russia would have been divided a long time ago. So I think Russia maintains this very authoritarian sort of regime in order to control the territories they have, because that's where their power comes from. The resources of natural gas, you know, fur trade was a big thing as well, especially during the militarization in the medieval times. And also there's going to be new opportunities with the Northwest Passages when the Arctic starts melting. Trade instead of going from Asia through the Panama Canal, is that right? And then going into Europe and America. Instead, it's going to go over, you know, into the Northwest Passage, either go through Canada and Russia. So yeah, things are going to be very interesting in the next, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, I guess, when it's fully accessible.
The point that I was trying to make, that my point is, I'm not saying the West is the most evil. No. My point is, as much, there was a philosopher who went, I think he was a scientist or whatever. He went to a bar and said to a woman, said, if I give you $1 million, would you come to my room? She said yes. And then he said, what about if I give you 20? She slapped him. He said, how dare you? What kind of woman do you think I am? He said, we established that. We are just haggling. The problem is, as much as you talk about the others negative and evil, point at the Western government and the Western society as much as that. If any money comes, see, my problem with Theresa May and whatever the president of America and the West is, when they go, when they go on the top of the podium, they fly the flag of morality, human rights. When the Saudis came, they put the carpets, they take the checkbook, and they sell them weapons to kill innocent people. My point is, admit your hypocrisy first, and then blame the others.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker.
Yeah, just a point on what this young Ukrainian man said. If I'm arrested by the police in Great Britain, I don't expect to get beaten up. I might get beaten up, but I don't expect to, and generally I'm not.
Ask me, sir. I have.
Wait.
Hang on a minute. Your gob is very big and you're a nice chap. If I'm arrested by the Russian police, I expect to be beaten up. Part and parcel of a routine, correct? So if you entertain any ideas that we are a police state, you're wrong. I don't care if you say you've been beaten up. It's a very rare case. Thank you very much.
There's no coincidence it's called the bear. Russia.
Do you know every time I walk to the airport, because of my name and beard, the computer selects me randomly?
Next speaker
Every time.
with the ball.
This gentleman,
I know.
and I'm very sorry.
Honourable member here.
I think you shouldn't be. The government. You should blame the government. sir.
Okay, you're being interrupted by
I
your
don't
brother.
want
Why
my
are you
money. I
not
want the
telling
money.
him
They've taken it.
I think everybody
Yeah,
talking
they're
about his
taking it.
experience. So I have respect
People forgot their
to
history.
my brother when he was talking against Russia because his
How he
country
obtains
has
the
been
wealth
harmed
with
by
cheating
Russia.
and lying and raping. And
So
death,
he have to
destroying
understand
people.
Iraqi people or Afghani people being harmed by America and respect that. So you don't tell us we're talking bullshit about America, because if you're losing some of your member of family by Russians, I understand that. But are we losing member of family in Iraq? So you have to respect what is harm America done in. Can I remind you what is America done in Iraq? To you to understand, is that true or not?
Yes,
is
it
that
is.
true? 2 million people died in Iraq during the invasion of Iraq or not? People, can you answer?
Now make your point.
Yeah, I'm making my point.
He is making a point.
I'm making my point.
Make your point straight.
Do you remember Abu Ghraib? What happened in Abu Ghraib?
It's a jail.
Do
No,
you
it was
remember?
Russians. No, it was Russians. You're wrong.
Avoid questions.
It was the
My
Western.
brother, I'm
Make
not
your
asking a
statement.
question, I'm making my point.
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't. If you ask people
I'm
questions,
not asking, I'm making my point.
yeah, just
Make
make
it
your
more.
point.
Remember.
I'm just asking people, do you remember Abu Ghraib?
Yes,
Do you
I was told
remember
there was a jail
how
in
many?
Iraq.
Do you remember how many kids being killed in Iraq by America, not by Russians? So my experience when I say America, down 1, 2, 3, don't tell me I'm talking bullshit. Don't tell me you said we're talking bullshit. It's America. There is about
For
5
him, it's
minutes
bullshit.
ago.
I know. For him.
So you have to understand, my brother. You want to talk to me?
I'm
you talk.
confirming his.
Okay, you're talking. So give me a favor, be quiet. So you have to understand, everybody talking about his own experience. We're not here hating each other, but we try to explain. Okay, if we compare how many American bases in the whole of the world, military base, everywhere, how many Russian bases? There's none. Only in Syria,
800 American bases.
my brother. Only in Syria.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong.
So right now, what's America? Right now, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, America backed up Israel to give what's it called that?
Iron Dome.
Golan Heights
Golan Heights.
to Israel, and backed up Israel to give them Al-Quds to make it capital city of Israel.
Let's not take it to Israel. Let's not take it there.
Let me ask these people.
No, don't take
no,
it there.
listen, listen,
Don't
listen.
take it there. I don't want.
Make your
Jerusalem
point.
will
And your
always
I'm
point.
making
have
my
been
point.
reasonable, but don't worry about it.
Stick
Jerusalem will
with
always
other countries. No, you can't do that.
Jerusalem
He
will
was
always
making a
have
good
been
point.
By critical-
Mr. EC3, ICT, you can't take it from him.
No, no, too many questions.
My brother,
I
that's
warn
not
you,
fair.
don't
I'm
ask. No.
talking. I'm making my
I'm
point.
telling you what's fair.
Okay,
He's
fair enough.
the speaker.
It's okay, he's the
Yeah,
boss
no,
He
today.
decides.
Are you going to be quiet
He's
for
in
5
charge.
minutes?
Although it looks like the
I
most
beg
You
you.
look like you're in charge.
Are you going to be quiet for 5 minutes?
If I had a point, if you lied, then I'll make a point.
Thank you, Mr. Merkel.
Wait for the
If
board.
everyone was doing that, it would be a bit chaotic.
It's chaotic. Look at our
Yeah, because of you.
Is it chaotic?
We can criticise Russia or another state. That is not saying that we think we're perfect in any way, shape or form. So I don't know why you keep, or anyone, not focusing on him, is trying to throw stones at people for criticising Russia or another state by saying, yes, but look at you, look at you, look at this, look at that. It's not relevant.
So for American view.
And again, this obsession with, you know, there are people who are being critical of Russia. Let's jump in and criticise America. Do you think Russia doesn't have state bases, military bases around the world?
There you
Do you know? Do
You're
you
doing
not
the same
think
thing.
Russia is
Tell
only
us,
worried
where is
about
it?
its own? You seriously don't
Tell
know.
us, where is it?
Why,
Look at this
why,
lack of
why do you think they
self-awareness.
annexed
You're
Crimea?
interrupting here.
Why do you think they annexed Crimea? Is one
asking
perfect
questions.
example of it.
They grabbed back
Tell us
Crimea.
what it is.
Russia
They
are
grabbed
killing.
it.
Why?
Russia are killing people
Why?
today.
And the world did nothing about
No,
it.
why
Don't
they
say
did?
it's only America do it.
I know it.
They have invaded.
They've
My
got no
point is
power
that
in
Russia is
Sevastopol. I went there.
equally as evil as
They've got no
America.
power there. I went
In my view, in terms of how they treat their own people, they are severely worse than America. You know, we're sitting around here utilising our freedom of speech. Do you think for one moment we could rock up in Red Square and do this? Two people can't gather without the state approval because it's considered a
You talk
protest.
about freedom
And
of
they
speech.
be quiet.
Million of
And
people,
they will- you
million
see.
of people demonstrating
And they will be
against the war in
thrown in
Iraq.
prison for
No,
it.
but
There is
brother.
no freedom of
Mr.
thought.
Million
There
of
is
people
no
demonstrating
freedom
here
to
to stop the
gather.
war in Iraq. Why nobody stopped the war in Iraq?
There is no
Million of
freedom
people.
of the
Talk about
press
freedom.
whatsoever. Again, our press, our media are not perfect.
You're deluded.
Compare it with Russian media. You cannot get on any of the mainstream news TV networks. You know, they like us. They use cable. They use satellite.
You're
Can't
deluded.
get on those networks unless you're spouting a pro-Putin message.
You're
That is
deluded.
fact. You cannot stand for election unless Putin allows you to stand for election. Putin dictates who can stand in the presidential election. This is fact. We whinge. We're not perfect here. We whinge about the internet and social media now. Twitter are controlling who's allowed to speak and not. Putin completely controls the internet in Russia. He is currently about to implement a law
Enough
or a
Putin now.
dictate where the entire internet access within Russia will be governed by the Russian state. He was so worried about the Russian equivalent of
Nothing from the gallery,
Facebook,
please.
which is
Nothing
called
from the gallery.
Have you heard of John
Odnoklassniki,
Snowden?
that he bought
Sit here.
it.
If you
The
want to
state bought the Russian equivalent
No,
of
grow
Facebook.
up.
You know nothing. These are facts. Odnoklassniki is the Facebook equivalent of Russia, and he bought it, and it is now used as the one method of
taking too long like
intelligence.
me.
The
Take the ball
FSB
off my
has
hand.
more funding now
you
than the
go.
KGB ever had under Soviet times. They put more resource and more people into the FSB now. And listen to them all spout. You can't criticise Russia without triggering them about America. Except that Russia is an evil, evil state under Putin.
He loves Putin.